Everyone, I'm Amir Ali, and this is Valor Videos and Gaming. Today I'm going to talk a little bit about working from home and offer up some useful tips that I've learned over the past 10 years by working from home. I currently work as a full-time customer service representative for a company website. I also stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. The link to the Twitch is in the description below. If you find any of the following tips useful or enjoy the content, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. You can also turn notifications on to be alerted whenever new content is posted. Now, let us begin. Tip number 1, get up and get dressed. Just because you're working from home doesn't mean you should completely disregard certain practices. I can't stress how important it is that you get up and you get dressed into proper work attire. Now, when I say proper work attire, I don't necessarily mean something too formal. Dress work casuals, whatever makes you comfortable. That's the important thing. We're not going for physical looks here or to be presentable to anyone. This is more of a mental trick. Getting dressed, it's like flipping a switch in your head. It's like your mind is, clocking into work, or punching in, whatever is applicable. The point is, get up and get dressed into something comfortable. Wear a t-shirt and jeans, whatever makes you comfortable. While rolling out of bed does seem nice 5 minutes before your shift, actually no, that doesn't sound nice at all. Another thing that's easily overlooked is if you're working in your bedroom and your bed is within your line of sight, make up your bed once you get up. Don't have a messy, rambled up bed in front of you. It will affect your mood. Tip numero dos. Ideally, you want to have a private workspace. Something like a nook or a hobbit hole or whatever you want to call it. Something that's private, away from the rest of the house, preferably away from where other people you may live with will have easy access to you. Make sure you have a well-lit workspace. Windows are great for letting in natural sunlight, but you should also have a secondary source of light, like a desk lamp, or just a lamp. Internet connection and speed is very important, especially if you work for a business or a company or any entity other than yourself. You want to have a reliable and fast internet connection. One of the best ways to do this is to plug your PC or your laptop, whatever device you're using mainly to work from, directly into your modem or gateway with an Ethernet cable. Wi-Fi is okay, but I'd say when you're working from home and people are relying on you to execute certain duties, or if calls with customers relies on your internet connection, then you definitely want to have a stable internet connection. Wi-Fi is great, if you're using it for personal reasons from your mobile phone, but for work reasons, I think you should definitely get a hardwired connection directly into your modem. You may have sufficient Wi-Fi speed to get the job done, don't get me wrong. If you're not sure, there's a few ways you can do this. One of the quickest ways to do it is to open up your internet browser and type the phrase internet speed test and just pick one of the top results, run the speed test and see what your speed is. You probably want to do that if you're running an Ethernet connection as well, just to make sure everything is copacetic. There's nothing worse than getting up, getting dressed and starting your shift to find that you don't have internet access for whatever reason, or your internet is laggy or too slow. It's definitely something you want to make sure is in order before you start your shift for that day. Another important factor when trying to achieve comfort when you're working from home is ergonomics. Things like posture is something you definitely want to be mindful of while you're working. You want to have a proper chair where you can sit up straight. You want to have your monitor at least arm's length so you're not straining your eyes. Make sure you have a suitable mouse that's fit. Make sure you have a mouse that's suitable for your hand. There's mice of all shapes and sizes. Find one that works. There's tons of reviews on YouTube. There's even resources you could look up to figure out what's best for your hand size. Over long periods of time, not being mindful of this can lead to small or even serious injuries down the line. Things like carpal tunnel, or even having, something as mundane as or something as common as a stiff neck or back. Making sure the arms on your chair is level with your desk so you're not overstraining your elbows and your tendons. Tip number 3, have a schedule. Workflow management and scheduling of your duties and responsibilities is very important. Without a manager, supervisor, or boss breathing down your neck constantly, you can get easily distracted. It's easy to get distracted by browsing the web or online shopping or basically doing things other than work. So you definitely want to keep a schedule. Me personally, I actually have a written down schedule, or you can even type it up if you want to be a little bit more professional. I set aside a specific time frame for answering emails, taking calls, returning voicemails, and then I have a specific time frame set aside for doing paperwork and things like that. So you definitely want to have at the start of each day and be mindful of throughout the day your schedule. You know, what are you going to be doing from, 9 to 10, from 10 to 12? Then you have your lunch. What are you doing when you get back from lunch? What are you doing in the last hour of the day? In my job, the last hour of the day sometimes is the most crucial for me because I want to make sure that every piece of work that came in that day was at least started, if not completed. Now, it depends on your line of work. You can't always finish a task in one day, but you get the picture. You want to be mindful of what you're doing and when. You want to prioritize your tasks accordingly. Tip number 4, have the right state of mind, meaning maintain a work mentality even when you're working from home. What is that? I'm not saying don't do anything personal. That's kind of unrealistic. You're home for 8 hours a day. The truth is you're probably more productive working at home because there's no boss. This is going back to the last tip, workflow and management and having a schedule for all your work. You have all these other distractions, coworkers, bosses breathing down your neck, where you may not be as productive. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but believe it or not, because you don't have all those other distractions, you can be more productive working from a home office. I'm not saying don't do anything personal while you're at work. Don't surf the web. That would be unrealistic. I'm just saying use your discretion. Maybe do it after you've cleared your inbox or on a break. Don't let it interfere or impede you from dishing out your normal responsibilities. You are still getting paid to do a job, and just be mindful of that. Have a sense of honor and pride in your work. Just because you're working from home unsupervised doesn't give you the right to do whatever you want. You are, after all, on the clock. You're on someone's dime, basically. And it's a slippery slope. If you get into the habit of, just doing 2 hours of work when you're supposed to be working for 8 hours and just doing whatever you want for the other 6, it will show up in your productivity. Just because no one's watching you doesn't mean the work is not going to speak for you. Make sure if you're working a job where you have to come into normal contact with customers and clients, right now with the state of the world, be respectful to your clients and also be mindful of your voice and how loud you're talking, because there's other people you might live with and you definitely don't want to disturb them just because you're talking too loud. Tip number 5, distractions and how to avoid them. By working from home, you're bound to run into distractions, whether it be from family, neighbors, you might have kids running around at home who's not attending school right now for obvious reasons. But whatever the distraction may be, kids, relatives, pets, you are going to have to find a way to curb that. If it means locking your door, great. But also it could mean letting relatives know if you have housemates, roommates, family walking around, loved ones, partners, parents, what have you. During these hours, I'm working. And basically, unless it's for emergencies only, please consider me unreachable. I mean, if you have flexibility and you're able to have regular distractions or speak to relatives, your situation might be different. Maybe you're tending to a sick parent or a sick kid or whatever the case may be. You may not be able to do this, but you should still definitely let them know that during these hours I will be working, and maybe you can set aside a schedule. Going back to the other tip, keeping a schedule of maybe you check in with these people that fall under your ward. You know, if you have kids or parents at home or pets that you need to tend to, make sure you include that time in your schedule. Set aside a specific amount of time and a specific time of your workday to tend to those other responsibilities. I'm sure your employer will understand. Managing distractions can be one of the more trickier things that you're going to have to deal with, and unfortunately there is no one universal solution to this. It all depends on your situation, so you're going to have to find a way to adapt, but also not neglect your work and your personal duties. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for staying until the end. I really appreciate the support. If you want to continue to show your support, be sure to like the video and also subscribe to the channel. Turn on notifications if you'd like to be alerted to whenever a new video is posted. I also stream on Twitch every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday. The schedule and link to that Twitch is in the description below. Thank you so much.